My name is Omi Dariani. Welcome to this installment of The Roundtable. I'm here today with Darren McPherson, the lead game designer of Everquest Next, and Jeff Butler, the creative director. Today we're talking about customization as it relates to armor. We asked the question, to what degree do we want players to be able to customize their armor? We had a lot of people saying that they wanted complete ability to customize their armor. And then we also had a bunch of people who really wanted to make sure that they could tell what people were wearing. And unfortunately, I think we had one slight oversight in here.
We forgot one really particular point on the poll, and that was for people who want no customization at all.
If you don't see exactly what you want on the poll, feel free to just write it in, because we're reading those comments. So Vesavius, which I may have messed up, says, let people express themselves and create what they want to see on their characters. Seems pretty reasonable. And then we had Cersei, who said, the sword that drops from the dragon deep under the world needs to look like that sword. And wielding it tells everyone in the world that you've killed that dragon.
Yeah. What
do you guys think about that?
I can totally see both sides. Being able to look like what you want. This is a role-playing game. You want to be able to play the role that you want. In EQ Next, we have so much customization with multi-classing that you can really build somebody that you want to play.
Cersei's comment is pretty important to me because as a game that's heavily based in collections, we definitely are hoping to see people earn the right to display a particular object. So if you see that dragon sword is being wielded by a person, you should know that they had to go down there and kill that dragon or do that quest, whatever the case may be.
Customization, how does that actually affect gameplay? Can you talk a little bit about why we may or may not want high levels or low levels of customization?
Well, the most obvious thing is in PvP. If you're fully customizable and you can wear plate and be actually visibly wearing cloth, then I don't know what you are. I don't know what you're.
You could disguise yourself.
You're disguising yourself. You're camouflage. Right?
Tactically, I wouldn't know what to expect.
Right, and we really want a visual language that takes into account player knowledge that they've gained over time. So being able to see something and know what that person is wearing is very, very important to us.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that came up in the panels as well at SOE Live, was the idea that you would instantly visually be able to recognize a class. You need to be able to recognize...
Yeah, we were doing things with animations and effects for each class so that you can tell.
Why is this question in particular important to the team?
Well, armor appearance is such a vital piece of what we do. As we, Jeff and I and the rest of the team play through these games, we always brag about the things that we've accomplished, the cool looks that we have.
Visual progression is key to pretty much every massively multiplayer game out there. The cooler looks, the harder to get items. That's one of the primary reasons why I strive to achieve in games. Throughout the development of Everquest Next, we've had some excellent concept artists putting together the different armor styles in a progression-oriented format. And I can tell you, I'm super excited for people to see what we have coming. I want that armor in the game. I want to build up to it.
What are we thinking right now? How is this looking in the game right now? Where are we going with this?
So Jeff mentioned armor families, and armor families are typically racially based. So the Dark Elf would be a good example of that. Dark Elves have armor that looks distinct to them, that represent their cultural heritage and the way that we've portrayed them in the story. So when he's wearing Dark Elf armor, I can tell that that's what that is. There's also armor types, plate, cloth, leather, things that people are familiar with. They understand how this mechanic works. Plate is typically more defensive. So if Jeff is, for example, trying to create a really cool barbaric looking character, and he loves the Dark Elf plate because it has this look that appeals to him, but he gets a full set. It's got really cool elements to it, and then he does another big quest, or he kills a big monster or something, and he gets another piece of that armor. He has the ability to swap those pieces in and out without affecting the stats, because you may want to look like you did at tier 4 during the middle of progression because you loved that armor set, but obviously you need to be able to compete at the higher tiers, and so it's very important for us to be able to swap those things out. You can still tell what he did. I think that what was Cersei brought up the great point of the sword that drops from the dragon. The way the system currently works would be the only way that you can make your weapons look like that weapon, but only if you've earned that weapon. It drops off that dragon, and then you have it in your roster of abilities, so that when he goes to another area and gets a better weapon, he can still take that look because he liked it. This is very important.
Or if he didn't care for that look, he doesn't have to.
Right. I mean, we played lots of games where you're really like, oh man, I just didn't like this tier's items. I didn't like what this dungeon dropped, but I'm compelled to use it because it's the highest stat item I have. And you go around looking like an idiot.
You may not wear the
in your
Flaming
mind anyway.
Castle shoulder pads.
Flaming Castle shoulder pads. Yeah, or Power Ranger armor, or whatever it was that drove you crazy. You're like, but the choice is removed from you. We want both identifiability and achievement as a visual thing, and we want you'd be able to choose. I don't know if I mentioned it, but within a armor family, you can only swap in that armor family. So if I have Dark Elf, I can only swap Dark Elf. If I'm in Plate and Dark Elf, I can only swap Dark Elf Plate with the different things. So the idea being that we introduce lots of different pieces within these armor types or these armor families, and you can swap between them.
And that we adhere to that visual language so that the savvy player can look at you and know in Dark Elf leather, recognize you, and in Canosian cloth, recognize Darren.
And we talk about PvP as an example, but PvE is definitely this way too. When you see a big NPC that has a specific sword, you'll have an idea with player knowledge what that sword's going to do to you.
So you've heard a fair amount about what we're thinking right now. Please continue to comment and let us know what you think of those ideas. We're still listening, we're still discussing, and this is just part of our process, and we really, really appreciate the feedback. So thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.